Welcome back into the Veiled Archive. First and foremost, please hit that like and subscribe if these are your types of conversations. It does help get this channel out to the people that may need it or want it. And with that, let's dive right in. What if salvation was a curse and faith was a weapon? Join us for a look into Father by Zachary Greaton, a terrifying, brutal descent into a world where a man who is supposed to represent the Almighty instead leads a terrifying cult of manipulation, madness, and the occult. What's the book about? Father is an occult horror thriller that follows Jess on a search for her missing sister, Sarah. Her journey leads her into a world of despair, addiction, and the occult, which is led by a figure known as Father Aries. The book delves into sensitive and disturbing themes such as substance abuse, demagoguery, and extreme religious fanaticism. As Jess's search continues, it becomes a descent into madness, and she must discover the truth at any cost. The story is a harrowing journey to the very gates of hell. What sets this one apart? It's a masterful and unflinching narrative. The novel is described as a masterfully crafted horror novel, with a bleak tone that explores its themes with unflinching honesty. It doesn't shy away from depicting graphic violence and psychological torment, making it a truly disturbing work. The narrative structure, which uses strategically placed inner monologues, maintains a relentless pace and builds a constant, genuine dread. Characters and antagonist. The characters are remarkably authentic and fully realized, with progressive arcs that remain true to their identity. Father Aries is a standout achievement, portrayed as a complex blend of believability and genuine menace. His chilling conviction in his sermons and offers of salvation makes him a truly memorable and terrifying antagonist. He is described as a demon dressed as a preacher. Atmosphere as a character. The setting is rendered with an equally oppressive atmosphere. The landscapes, including menacing trees, dank cellars, and open graveyards, are so vividly described that they become characters in their own right, underscoring a pervasive sense of dread and isolation. This forces the reader to rely solely on the human characters for hope. Mind-bending psychological horror. The book is firmly rooted in the horror and cultist subgenre, but it transcends simple shock value by weaving in deep psychological tension and exploring the roots of religious extremism. The disturbing vision sequences add credibility and intellectual weight to the story. It's a psychological and mind-bending read that will crawl under your skin and whisper in your ear. Before we dive into audience reactions, I do want to note that the book is very graphic. The author did an amazing job um, of depicting substance abuse at its extreme, and what toll that can take, not just on a person, but their life, entirely. Um, I mean, I don't want to not overly violent or gory through the rest of it, but for those that are sensitive to specifically substance abuse, please be warned. It is quite graphic, and it is unsettling, but it really, really makes the story shine, especially with one of the characters in there. Um, I mean, you can't help but feel emotionally invested when you get to that section, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about if you read the book. But moving on, audience reactions. Captivating and unputdownable. Reviews state that the book had me from the start and is a definite page-turner. Readers couldn't put it down and were left wanting more. It's described as a very easy and quick read. Dark and terrifying. Customers found the book terrifying, brutal, and horrifyingly real. The story's descent into madness and its depiction of faith being weaponized makes it deeply unsettling experience. Lasting impressions. The book will leave a lasting impression and is a must read for fans of psychological and occult horror. My personal review: Father, the Sacrificial Lamb by Zachary Greaton is a masterfully crafted horror novel that plunges readers into an abyss of unrelenting darkness, exploring some of the genre's most sensitive and disturbing themes with unflinching honesty. The narrative's bleak tone is established from the very beginning and only intensifies as it delves into topics such as substance abuse, graphic withdrawal, self harm, demagoguery, and extreme religious fanaticism. This is a work that does not shy away from depicting graphic violence and the psychological torment of its characters, culminating in a harrowing journey to the very gates of hell. One of the novel's greatest strengths lies in its characters. The cast feels remarkably authentic and fully realized, each with a genuine and progressive arc that remains true to their core identity. They are not contrived archetypes, but rather deeply human individuals whose struggles and motivations anchor the story in a palpable reality. The setting is rendered with an equally oppressive atmosphere. The landscapes, from the menacing trees and dank cellars to the foreboding stone walls and open graveyards, are so vividly described that they become characters in their own right, underscoring a pervasive sense of dread and isolation. This environmental menace forces the reader to rely solely on the characters for the narrative's necessary flicker of hope, which they provide in a powerful and a compelling manner. The character of Father Aries is a particular standout achievement. His portrayal is a complex blend of believability and genuine menace, a figure who evokes both disdain and fascination. His sermons, biblical quotations, and offers of salvation are delivered with such chilling conviction that they create a deep sense of unease, making him a truly memorable and terrifying antagonist. The book's narrative structure is also highly effective, utilizing strategically placed inner monologues that propel the story forward without getting lost in unnecessary exposition. This approach maintains a relentless pace, building a constant, genuine dread that permeates every page. While firmly rooted in the horror genre and its occult cultist subgenre, the novel transcends simple shock value by weaving in deep psychological tension and exploring the roots of a religious extremism. The disturbing vision sequences, though unsettling, lend the book a significant amount of credibility and intellectual weight. It is a mind-bending and psychologically intense read that will appeal to those who appreciate a bleak, dark narrative. The only lingering question is a testament to its immersive reality. Why didn't somebody call the FBI? This is a book that defines what it means to be truly disturbing and is a must-read for fans of psychological and occult horror. It is a deeply unsettling and brilliantly written work that will leave a lasting impression. And next up, we'll hit our author spotlight for Zachary Greaton, and this is direct from his Amazon bio page. Zachary Greaton is a video director turned storyteller with a flair for the dark and thrilling. With years of experience crafting high-impact music videos for major labels, Zachary brings a cinematic edge to his writing, creating vivid, visceral worlds that linger in your mind long after the final page. Born and raised in Saco, Maine, and educated in Bangor, Stephen King's hometown, Zachary grew up surrounded by the eerie charm of New England's shadowy forests and whispered legends. That atmospheric inspiration bleeds into his stories, where the line between light and darkness is deliciously blurred. Now based in Atlanta, Georgia, Zachary channels his creative energy into writing gripping thrillers and horror novels that keep readers on the edge. When he's not conjuring nightmares on the page, he runs a thriving medical marketing agency and enjoys life with his partner, Andrea, and their two dogs, Annie and Shaggy. For fans of twisted dark thrillers and horror, Zachary Greaton delivers stories that captivate, terrify, and refuse to let go. Follow his author page and stay updated on new releases. Zachary Greaton also has 3 other titles available. All 3 are free on Kindle Unlimited: The Murder Exchange, Husband.exe, and Happy Wedding Day are all garnering substantial praise. I'm sure we'll end up covering them at some point as well. And then moving along to movie comparisons for this book, Don't believe that we've used either one of these two because this is a different type of book uh, compared to what we've covered thus far on the channel. The first one that popped up in my mind was The Omen, 1976. The film centers on a couple who discovers that their son is destined to fulfill a horrific prophecy. This movie shares the theme of an innocent being involved with a powerful evil force, similar to the central conflict in Father. And the next one was Rosemary's Baby, 1968. The film follows a young wife who becomes pregnant and begins to suspect that her neighbors, who are part of a satanic cult, have sinister plans for her baby. This movie is a good parallel for the exploration of occult horror and psychological dread found in Father. And then moving along to book comparisons, one good one is The Demonologist by Andrew Piper. That book follows a professor who specializes in John Milton's Paradise Lost. He is drawn into a supernatural journey after his daughter is abducted and finds himself battling demonic forces. The novel delves into horror, theology, and power of the written word. Next up would be The Last Days of Jack Sparks by Jason Arnott. It's a found footage horror novel about a journalist who sets out to debunk the supernatural but ends up getting in over his head. The book's use of protagonist who is an expert in his field but is forced to confront something outside his understanding is a good parallel to The Priest and Father. And then Come Closer by Sarah Gran, a psychological horror novella about a young architect who begins to believe she is possessed by a demon. The book explores the insidious, slow-burn psychological horror of a person's life unraveling due to an unseen malevolent force. This is a good parallel to the psychological descent into madness also experienced by the priest and father. And then my take. This is another one of those books that you just don't put down. I did it in one sitting. It should take you a couple hours. I believe it took me 2 or 3, and I did do them at work. Don't tell anybody. But you're immediately brought into a world you can't understand, and you're not supposed to. And that immediately transcends into the substance abuse, which we talked about, and that's quite graphic. So you're not quite sure where you're headed with this novel. I mean, outside of other reviews, or even uh, the author's book description, it doesn't do it justice even through the first few chapters. You get drawn into a personal dilemma, and as I said, Jess looking for her sister, and there's so many twists and turns in this one that you almost can't put it down. And like I mentioned, I couldn't. Um, and it's also one of those books where you try and guess what's coming next, and you're wrong every time. To the point, I mean, all the way through from beginning to end, and even at the end, it is a surprise revelation. You may have guessed it, but I don't want to contradict myself, but you're probably not going to guess it. Is what I'm trying to say? And that's the way that it should be. That's Stephen King-esque. Um, and as you noted from the author's bio, he took a lot of inspiration from Stephen King himself. I suppose anybody would if they lived in Maine. But it really shines. And I'd have to say the settings, which blew my mind in this book. As I said, they were meticulously crafted uh, as a thing that's outside of nature yet within it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like even the trees were horrifying in a way. The stone was colder than it should be or darker. The graveyard scene was amazing, which was another twist I don't think anybody saw coming. But yeah, I could we could be here for another 15 minutes talking about things that you didn't see coming and plot twists. Just read this book. You're not going to be disappointed. But as I mentioned earlier, if you are sensitive to, they say not gore, but graphic violence and extreme substance abuse situations, just keep that in mind. That is disturbing. But anyways, next up. The next time on the Veiled Archive, we're diving deep into Our Heart's Oh Sweet Rose, a story that will make you question how you would react if the person you loved was a stranger with a secret, and the life you built was a lie you were forced to believe. The past is a predator, and what if your escape wasn't an escape at all, but a twisted game designed to bring you back to a madness you thought you had outrun? And then again, if these are the type of conversations that you're interested in, or anybody else that you may know, please hit that like and subscribe. It helps the channel, but it also helps the authors that are writing these books. With that, we'll see you next time on the Veiled Archive.